hitting it now. Wait for it to say live and go. Oh, and we're on. Welcome, gamers and gamos, to PSVG OT. I'm your host, Coach Hulk, and with me today are two very awesome guests, Devin, live over 2K Tyus, and Charlotte, the Zombie Whisperer Cuts. How are we doing today, Dev?
I am doing fantastic, and yes, live over 2K all day, son.
And Charlotte, how are you doing today?
I'm really well. It's very late here in Germany at the minute, and I'm feeling surprisingly alert, which I wasn't expecting. So I'm as good as can be expected.
We have that effect on people. We brighten rooms, me and Dev. Maybe.
Absolutely.
Charlotte, so some of our audience might not know you. Some of them do. My kids and I are big fans. Would you mind giving just a quick introduction of yourself?
Yeah, so I've been writing pieces on various parts of gaming culture for quite a while now. I've done bits on retro games for Skirmish Frogs, which is a collective blog on various retro things. And then I moved on to doing pieces for Kane and Rinse, which is another gaming podcast. And very recently I've joined Destructoid, and I do an editorial piece once a week. And I think how Mo knows me is because I was blogging on Destructoid as a community blogger for quite a while. And I wrote a fair few pieces on various things like zombies.
Yep.
So
still one of my favorite pieces I've ever read. My kids and I still talk about it, and it's led to some awesome discussions. So I'm so grateful to have you here, Charlotte. Like I'm a big fan. And so this show, PSVG OT, has two main things that we try to do. The first one is we like to share memories so that we can connect with the audience and kind of share the joy and some of the sadness and how to overcome that with people. The second thing that we do is we make sure our guests are not prepared at all. So the question we've asked every week, have either of you been prepared for the show yet?
Nope.
That's good. Charlotte, do you feel prepared?
I have no idea what's coming.
Yes, that's what we're trying to get to. All right. So the memory for today, and this one is actually we want you guys to talk about the moment in gaming you're the most proud of, whether it's an actual achievement in a game or a writing. And so my memory is actually around the game Dwarves. It would have been last year. It was my first week working for PSVG, doing the side stuff that we love to do. And one of our editor people, they gave me a code for Dwarves. So I went in and downloaded it. I'd never really heard of it. I'd never read the books behind it. I didn't even know there were books at the time. And I jumped in and started playing. And it was one of those games where when I started it, I just wanted more of the story. And so when I was looking at and reading it, I was going to maybe send somebody to the Kickstarter that they had to get a collection edition. And then I saw it was based off these books. And I went out and I bought all 3 books. And I read them within, I think it took me like a week and a half. And then I played the game more, and then I beat the game. And then I wrote my review. And that review was the first time that I ever actually sat down and poured everything I had into something. Like I'm talking, I was double checking, I was going through replaying the game, I was finding sections of the book, I was sharing out everything that I had from this experience. And then we posted on PSVG, and Kevin Donnie hit me up and I'm like, man, this thing's actually getting some traffic. And I'm like, really? Like one of my articles is getting traffic. But it was more my students and how much they loved the passion I was showing and the conversation that it led to me and Shai and Jack and these kids to have about gaming and what it meant for me to involve in that culture. And so that's the memory of the thing that I'm the most proud of in gaming. That's my biggest achievement. Dev, what's yours?
Yeah, mine also goes into the writing piece. It was pretty much when I first came on to PSVG, and I actually had put up an article about Destiny, and it got people like really like, oh my God, this guy knows what he's talking about. This game, I'm gonna play this. I want to try this out. Just after playing Destiny for so long, and then finally being able to have an outlet to speak a little bit more about it and get people more enthused to actually want to play the game and see what it's about, was just a super proud moment. Like I got a lot of my friends who read that article and shared it with other friends who were in just gaming or whatnot. And they got into the game. They started playing the game after reading my article, after, you know, Destiny had been poo-pooed for so long, people thinking it just wasn't a good game or didn't have any story or didn't have a lot to do. After reading that article and subsequent articles that I put up for like Destiny 2 and stuff, being able to actually get people to give this game a second chance and to actually get into it and play it was just a very, very proud moment as far as gaming. And just like over the years, all the gaming that I've played, that's probably the most proud moment that I've had, just being able to share my passion for something with others and have them actually enjoy it and then join in on that fun. Like it's just, there's nothing better than that for me in gaming right now.
Man, and I love talking about the Glimmer cards with you. Like, I know some people try to, you know, give it some shade, but I love all the knowledge you have on that, dude. And it's such a blessing to get to talk to you about it. Charlotte,
I love it.
Favorite moment in gaming, thing you're most proud of?
Yeah, so I have a moment that I'm most proud of, but I can't remember exactly what I wrote about. It was the first article that I wrote for Kane and Rince, like on their website. I can't remember which one it was, but I was really, really proud because I've been big fans of those guys for a really long time. They just do like sometimes 3-hour-long podcasts on a single game, like the Metal Gear Solid games, and they just go into such depth and they do so much research. And they all have other jobs and stuff, but somehow they still managed to produce these amazing recordings. And so when I emailed Leon, the guy who's in charge of Kane and Rince, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you can definitely write for us." You know, I was just like really excited. So when I put up a piece and they were promoting it on Twitter, and I was getting a few likes on the page, even though it wasn't like the stuff that I've done for Destructoid has got a lot more coverage. Basically being able to write for a site of which I was like a really big fan was a really exciting and really proud moment for me.
Oh, that's awesome. So we're getting into our question portion. We shared our memories. And the reason I kind of went with more of a low-key memory today was one of the questions I had, like when my student asked this of me, I'm going to tell you the truth. I cried a little bit. Like I was like, I wish I knew how to help. And having Charlotte here, I was like, this is, I wanted to have a little more time on this, and we try to stick to an hour. But the question is, and it's direct to you, Charlotte, but then it's got a part for me and Dev. And so what it is my student Sierra asked, as a female gamer / writer, how do you deal with the prejudice that is faced? Do you have any tips to help young female writer gamers to stay safe and to get their work out there without the fear?
Oh, that's a really difficult question. And it's something that, if I'm totally honest, I haven't really figured out myself yet. So I kind of I think a lot of it is trying to establish for myself what's a good situation for me and what isn't, and when to like draw up the drawbridge and sort of take some time for self-care and not get too upset with things in the gaming community. So for example, I wrote an article for Destructoid last week that, for a lot of good reasons, didn't get received very well. I'll admit personally that I felt like I was under a lot of time pressure and I should have put more research in. But yeah, some of the comments in there were quite brutal. Like, I didn't get any insults, and I'm very lucky in that I have never had like outright people calling me names or misogynistic, insults. But some of them were bordering on very aggressive, like overly aggressive, and people were having to jump in to defend me. And what I did was there are some people you just can't engage with them. You just have to kind of like, what's the word? Kind of just, know that they're wrong and kind of just step away from it and know that you can't reason with them. So sometimes I just have to say, you know what, I really wanted to have a debate in the comments about what I've written, but for my own sanity, I need to take a step back. And so it got to a point with that article where I stopped replying to comments because I just didn't feel like I could cope with looking at the comments anymore. But also, I think what's really important is to have a good network around you. I'm lucky that when this happened, all of the guys at Destructoid were really supportive, and I talked to a lot of them personally about how to use this as a learning experience and not to take the aggressive comments too personally. So I think a lot of it is having the support and the guidance there to know how to deal with not only aggressive comments, but if it did dip into misogyny, I'm sure that the guys at Destructoid would guide me as to how to deal with that properly.
Awesome stuff. So the part for me and you, Dev, that Sierra added was, how can we help with this? Like, how can we help build that culture? So Dev, what can you do to help build that culture of making sure that my awesome young female students don't have to have that fear?
I think the biggest part is treat people like people. Like, just because she's a female doesn't matter. Like, she's a gamer, she's a writer. Treat them like a person. Don't automatically jump down, their throats, or just because they may have a different point of view or a different take on something because they're a woman. Like, there's no need for that. Gamers are gamers. There's no female gamers. To me, that's just ridiculous. If you're a gamer, whether you're male or female, you're a gamer. It does not matter. And then just, like I said, treat people like people. Treat people the way you want to be treated. You don't want to be torn down because you're a straight male. You don't want to be torn down because you're a gay male. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, we're at this point where everybody is on the defensive because of there's just so much hate out there right now. And it sucks to be in that place. And it's about just being able to spread love. Like, we're all, especially if you're in gaming, you're there because you like to game. So why would you want to tear down somebody? Why would you want to tear down something they've put up, that they've put their passion into? If anything, if you want to have a debate, be respectful about it. Say, you know what, I see your point, but this is what I think. You don't need to tear them down or call them names or anything like that. Just spread love. Like, we're all here because we enjoy gaming. So let that be what it's about. Don't take it somewhere else. Let's just talk about the games and enjoy that. The fact that we all are here because we love games. So it's about doing that and just treating people like people instead of trying to just be a troll on the internet and tear people down. Like, I hate that. That's why a lot of times I don't even jump into comment sections, because it's just filled with just so much hate and nonsense. It's just it's pointless. It sucks.
And for me, Sierra, last year I got a really cool award from my girls' tennis team, my girls' track team, and they nominated me for their coach of the year. And I remember Sierra was one of the kids who was like, "Coach, you always tell me I can do it." And that always, for me, it's understanding that when Charlotte's talking about having that support group, those people behind you, everyone should have that. I wish we all did, and sometimes we don't. And I think a lot of times because we don't vocalize it. So when I've started doing this podcast, like, I wanted to make sure we were having fun and sharing memories, but I also want to make sure that people knew, like, everyone that comes on here, I want them to know they're supported, that I want the people who are listening to know that we love them and we support them too and want to help. And so that's the thing I do for my kids, is when I share this with them, they know, like, hey, Coach is doing this because he wants you to have a place to ask these questions, but also so that you know that no matter what you're trying to do, I want to support you. I want to help. And so it was just a question that when she asked me, like, I don't have a great answer, but Sierra, I'm going to try really hard to do everything I can to make sure that when you're writing, whether it's gaming, whatever you want to do, that you have support behind you. So thank you guys. I really appreciate just getting to talk to you guys about that one. Our next ones get a little lighter, so we got some good ones. This one is from Jack, and she asks, "What is your favorite game and why?" Charlotte, favorite game?
Oh, that's really difficult because it's going to be some sort of Persona game, but I'm never sure which. Probably Persona 3. And it's my favorite because probably, to be honest, because it was the first one I ever played, and that's sort of meant that it's like stuck in my heart a bit more than 4 did. But also it has a bit of a dark tone. A lot of the things that people complain about with Persona 3 and they say, oh, Persona 4 got it so much better. I actually prefer how it is in Persona 3. So the whole, like, in Fez, you can't control the other team members. I actually think that's a really cool strategic element to the game. So yeah, I could play that game over and over and over again and never get bored. But I forced myself to play other games because I would be missing out on so many other games if I just played Persona 3 over and over again. So yeah, Persona 3, probably Fez edition. I think that's the best one.
What was the one that was on the 360? What was that one called? Do you remember? That's the only one I played like almost the whole way through. And I'm talking like there was like hundreds of hours of content, and I remember getting lost in the middle, not knowing what to do next. Golden? Is that what it was?
I don't know if there was on 360.
Yeah, there was one on 360, wasn't there? I'll look it up. I'll double check. Dev, what was yours?
Well, for me, it depending on how I'm feeling, it's gonna jump between Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past or World of Warcraft. They're both very, very different games, so it really just depends on how I feel. Like those are like my top 2 games of all time, and they just flip flop. I couldn't tell you which one would be the favorite. I mean, Legend of Zelda for me, it hit at a time period where I was going through a lot of just transition in life. And that was the game that I was playing at the time. And it was something that was an escape. And I just loved that Zelda series and that game, with having the shift between the dark and the light world and all the dungeons, the music, being able to find all the collectibles, all the weapons and stuff. It was just a really good time. And it's one of the few games that I've actually gone back and played through multiple times. Like I typically don't play games more than once I get through it. And that one I've played through at least 4 or 5 times, whether it was on the Super Nintendo or if it was on when they released it for like the Game Boy Advance. Like I've played through that game several times. And World of Warcraft is just, that game is bae. Like I remember playing it in vanilla when it came out in 2004, and I still will play it from time to time now with like the latest expansion. And just how deep that game is, the lore. It also came at a point in time where I found MMOs and had a bunch of friends to play with, and it was something we were talking about at work. We'd go to work, we talk about what we're going to do tonight, we get online, we go play. So that kind of framed the type of game experience that I really enjoy now with like Destiny. Not to mention just the lore and the story in World of Warcraft is so vast. And it's just one of those things I love. I love like that high fantasy type atmosphere. And just having all the quests and the characters and learning so much more when you play the game. Like there's always something to go do or something to go find. And that's why I love that series. I have several novels that I've talked about before from that universe. So it's bae.
I looked it up. It was Persona 4 Arena for 360, but that one led me to play the one on the Vita. And that was the one that I spent all the time in. Sorry. I want to clear that up. My favorite one, and so when I was talking to Jack about this, they basically were like, you need to tell them the truth. So my favorite game, everybody thinks it's Madden.
It's not?
It's not. But the game that is my favorite, it's kind of embarrassing to call a favorite because it was almost renownedly hated. It's the only 360 game it's the only reason I still own a 360. It's called Brink. And
what? Brink?
I love Brink. I'm sorry, like you get to customize your shooter. You go through, and I've got this huge tank of a person because, well, I'm 6'7" and 350 pounds, so I'm already a huge tank of a person. And so I get to add that with a giant Gatling gun and a sniper rifle. I'm sorry, that was my favorite, and I wish people would have played it. No one ever did. Brink. So
Brink had so much promise. Like the premise of it was great. It just didn't happen. It didn't work.
Yeah. So I said I would tell the truth.
Wow.
My favorite game is Brink. Thanks, guys.
No, we're not gonna let you forget that, right?
Well, Charlotte didn't say anything, so I'm guessing she's not gonna make fun of me. I'm sure the rest of you will, though. So our next question is actually from Shai, who's one of our long-term supporters of PSVG. Always gives us great questions. And it's a two-parter. And it kind of tied into Jack, so I kind of put them together. She wants to know who your favorite character is, why they're your favorite character, and would you ever cosplay as them? Dev, favorite character, why, and cosplay?
I'm torn between actually picking a character or picking myself, because I tend to put myself in whatever game that I'm playing. So when it comes to like Final Fantasy VII, for example, that wasn't Cloud, that was Devin. Any RPG, if I can change my name, it's me. Sports games, put myself in it. World of Warcraft, it's me. Destiny, it's me. So Ooh, I mean, I'll tell you this, I would definitely cosplay as a warlock, hands down, no problem from Destiny. I would do that in a heartbeat. But if I had to actually pick an actual character from a game, you know what? It would probably be Illidan from World of Warcraft. That dude is just badass. He is a tormented person. He's in love with his brother's woman. He's got a lot of issues. He is a demon. He's got some really dope swords. And I would definitely cosplay as him because he just looks awesome. So yeah, I'm probably gonna go with Illidan from World of Warcraft. He is a very, very nuanced character. Lots of hate, lots of rage, lots of love. Yeah, he's dope. I would cosplay as him for sure.
Nice. Charlotte, character you love, why you love him, and would you cosplay as him?
Right, well, trying to pick one out of so many different characters that I like is difficult, so I'm just going to have to go with who my favorite is at the minute, and that is Ocelot from the Metal Gear universe. So I've been playing Metal Gear Solid 5 a lot lately, and I just love Ocelot so much because he's just like this badass, but at the same time he has this ginormous crush on Snake. Like, it's so obvious that he's got this huge crush. It's just amazing. I really like Kaz as well, but I think Ocelot, and the fact that he's in Metal Gear Solid 5, he seems to see the good in everybody, whereas Kaz is quite jaded and sort of been betrayed one too many times. So yeah, I think he's my favorite at the minute, and I would definitely cosplay as a female version of Ocelot, just because the whole cowboy getup is just so amazing. Probably be quite expensive to cosplay as it, but I would definitely do it.
So, have you guys both played Metal Gear Solid 5?
I have not played 5.
Okay.
I've played all the other.
I've never played one until 5. Like 5 was my first. And so I played the first like 35 minutes, and I just had to ask, why was there a whale on fire on land? Like, I did not understand that, and that's when I stopped playing. That's when I was like, I don't think this is for me. I thought it was a shooter game with some stealth involved. I was like, Assassin's Creed with guns, let's go. But why was there a whale on fire? Like, I just did not understand what's happening. So, Charlotte, could you please inform me?
I mean, that's answered like with 2 words: Hideo Kojima. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say the same.
It's crazy.
Like, I was gonna say the same thing.
Like, it was. I just remember my wife. Like, we were sitting down, and she was next to me. And we were in this 1-bedroom apartment when we first moved to San Antonio, and I put the game in, I downloaded, I started playing, and the whale comes out, and she goes, "Is that a whale on fire?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's a whale on fire." She goes, "Weird game." I was like, I don't think this is for me. And I never went back to it. Like, I was like, I got other stuff I can play. And I was like, this whale is on fire. Oh my, Alicia Keys. Kevin, insert that here. All right. Sorry, that's the guy who owns the podcast. This whale is on fire. Sorry, my bad. All right. Moving on. Oh, mine. So my favorite characters, when me and Shai were talking about this, I wanted to go down the route of characters that I could cosplay as. Again, Charlotte might not know, I'm a very big dude. And so because of that, I can't really cosplay. I can't be Mario. Nobody wants to see a 6'8" Mario. Like
the Mario game on, what was it? The handheld system where he got really, really big and was like the whole level.
Okay, I could maybe do that. So I was like, characters I could cosplay as. Winston from Overwatch. That's something I could do. I could be a good Winston. I got some Winston skills. I love playing with him on Overwatch. And then I realized, like, as me and Shai were talking, like, there are some characters that I really am passionate about. The Incredible Hulk, we already know that one. But my next one is Diva. I love Diva from Overwatch. So my answer is, if she's one of my favorite characters, the reason why I love her is when I'm helping my team with her, there are multiple ways for me to do it. Okay. When I'm actually in the mech, I'm protecting people, I'm moving around, doing this and this, and I know what I'm doing for my team. But when I'm out of the mech, that gun is deadly if I'm where I'm supposed to be. Like her that laser shooter. And so yes, I would totally be a Diva, because if I just had a little drawing of her on my chest, I could be the mech on my own. You know what I mean? That I look like a little
Mm.
diva doll. I could be the mech. So I think I would make a good mech. So that's mine. All right. Moving on to Tyler's question. And this is actually when he found out that I was going to get to talk to Charlotte today. This is a question. He was like, you got to ask this. You got to ask this. And so the way we do questions is I have all my students put them into a hat and I draw them out. I normally pick like 4 or 5. And he was like, Coach, please. And so we made a deal, me and Tyler did. Tyler had to get 100 on 2 different exams this week. And he had to do his best on his push-up test. He had to beat his oldest score because I'm a PE teacher full-time. He brought me the 2 100s. And instead of doing 25 push-ups, he knocked it up to 27. So Tyler got his question, moved up to the front of the list. And he wants to know, what would you do in a zombie apocalypse? Charlotte, this one's for you.
Right. Well, I mean, I have never even like held or shot a paintball gun, never mind actual proper guns. So I think the whole going in with ammunition, all guns blazing, would not work for me. My size is probably my advantage because I am very small. I'm about 5 foot tall. So I would probably just hide. I would like find a good place to hide and make sure it's got all the reinforcements to stop zombies breaking in, and make sure I have enough rations, and maybe like go out on scavenging missions and like use my size to my advantage to sort of sneak around. Yeah, so I would be a lot more defensive than offensive. I think, to be honest, the people who do all the doomsday stockpiling have probably got the right idea, and the people like, oh, I'm going to go in with a massive machine gun and a grenade launcher and kill all these zombies, are probably the ones who are going to die first.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Not feel real confident with them.
So you'd be like Glenn from The Walking Dead.
Yeah. That's Charlotte and Glenn.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Dev, what would you do in case of a zombie apocalypse?
Well, see, me and my wife have had this discussion several times. She's like, take the kids and just leave me behind because I'm not ready to fight this fight. So that would be a tough one. I'd have to leave her behind.
Oh, no.
She's like, I'm not.
I'm about to cry right now, man. Just stop. Give me a second.
It's funny. We've had that discussion. She's like, I don't want to fight that. Just go. So one, I'd have to battle that because she's like, I'm no good in situations like this. I don't.
If the Walking Dead are hearing this, any of the writers, we just gave you the best storyline ever. Like that first episode right there, I'm feeling it right now. Whew.
Right.
Go on, big guy. Go on.
So yeah, I'd have to pack up the kids, you know what I'm saying, get all the rations, and kind of like Charlotte, I'd want to be more defensive than anything. Cause yeah, if you can avoid all of that, it's kind of like let them pick each other off. Everybody with the guns trying to go kill everybody off, kill the zombies. Let them deal with that. I'm gonna try and lay low. I'm going to try to get all the rations, and, once the zombies and the guys with the rocket launchers and grenade launchers and all the guns are kind of like mowed each other down, still their stuff, so I got some weapons to protect myself with. But for the most part, it's about trying to build a fort, find somewhere where you can lay low, get food, get rations, make sure, your kids, or if you have a crew with you, you guys stay together. None of that breaking up and going off and doing random stuff without people. But yeah, it's for me, it'd be way more about being on the defensive and trying to find a stronghold that I can, defend myself in. And then again, trying to, keep, if I'm with the group, keep that group to a minimum, like of a few people, because once you start getting, too many hands in the pot, everybody kind of turns on each other. So yeah, I would want to run with that as small a crew as possible, if a crew at all, and be on the defensive. Find me a little hidey hole and just, try to wait it out.
Man. Okay. Mine's pretty easy. All right. So my wife and I, we don't have kids. So we just got to get in the car. We have 2 dogs. We have Daisy and Bear. Put them in the car. Now, I would drive straight to Montana. There are 12 people in the state of Montana. Maybe 13. All right. So that's a big chunk of land. So I'm gonna go in there, and once I see like a big space where it says, "Hey, 80 miles to next town," I'm gonna drive to the middle, go off road, and just find myself a little shack. All right. If I don't find a shack, then I'm gonna build one. Okay. I can chop down a tree with the best of them. I'm pretty big. I got this. I'll get my Paul Bunyan on. Get my little shack set up, and I'm done. I ain't trying to look for nobody. Okay, I know they can farm Montana. I'll get my farm on. Okay, I'll get some. There's what, 1 billion cattle in the state of Montana. I'll go wrangle some up. Be like, all right, Betsy, you and me do the milking, and you're for the steaks. Call to life. I'm not trying to fight nothing. I'm not trying to start a group. My plan is called go and survive on my own.
Makes a whole lot of good sense.
And it's cold, so in my head, the zombie should be slowed down enough where if it does get close to me, my wingspan at 7 feet, 8 inches, whatever it is, and a baseball bat, I'm going to get my 2 hits in. Right? I should be able to win that fight. So that's my plan, Tyler.
What kind of zombies are we dealing with? Are we dealing like, the slow walking,
Isn't that the dream? We want the slow ones. Are we dealing
with like the freakers that are like taking off running after you like in see that it involves a whole other situation. Like, what kind of zombies are we dealing with here?
See, as long as they're not the ones from the game Dying Light. Did y'all play that?
No, not yet.
I've watched a lot of it. Yeah, man, those zombies are not
Dying Light.
Not okay.
Dying Light built a zombie that makes me go, if this happens, we're all done for. There is no getaway. Right? The thing gets stronger at night. Gets faster at night. What? No.
Yeah, that's not fair shooting.
Zombies should not be getting stronger at any point in time.
No.
There's no blood pumping through them. And if it is blood, it's like the black sludge stuff. Like that. That's not real. It should not get stronger. If it is the Dying Light ones, it's over, folks. Game over. There's no more quarters. You don't get to respawn. There's no reset button. It's finale'd. If it's the slow one, it's the slow one, we got a chance.
Yeah. If it's like the 28 days later, if it's the World War Z, if it's the Dying Light, there's no hope.
Yeah.
There's no hope.
Like, I mean, I think to just slightly amend my answer, I would be with my boyfriend, and my boyfriend, as long as we could meet up, because we don't live together at the minute. My boyfriend is like 6'4", so he could be like the offensive pet, like side to my defensive, and like I go out and do the sneaking, and he goes out and wields a big shotgun or something. And I feel like then I would be more prepared for the Dying Light scenario, but still, I'd probably only survive like a day.
Yeah, if it's Dying Light scenario, I might survive 12 minutes. 13 if no one's directly affected by my house. Because again, I'm not a small person. There's no hiding from me. All right, I'm bigger than most trees in the state of Texas. So I'm not getting. You're gonna see me. All right, I already get enough problems when I go to the mall. Little kids. Oh, Shrek. What? No, I'm a person. I'm a person, young child. Leave me alone. So,
oh man.
I'm in trouble. But if it's the slow ones, listen, I can maneuver. I can swing a baseball bat. Now, that led me to another question. Would you be in the hunt for automated weapons, or would you be like me and go find yourself a nice bat? Or, like my favorite character from the Walking Dead series is Michonne.
Yeah, I was about to say. Mm-hmm.
So, Dev, what do you lean towards weapon-wise? Like, where are you going?
That Ninja Dev, give me the swords, give me a katana, give me the blades. Okay. I don't even want to wield weapons that make too much noise. You got to aim. If I can just swing a sword and cut off a head real quick, we good to go. Let's go.
Charlotte, I know you were more on the defensive side, but if you had to have something, what would you be leaning towards? Like, what would be your go-to?
I mean, I don't like the idea of melee weapons just because I don't like to get myself dirty. Like, okay. I think in the zombie apocalypse, I would still do my nails, you know?
Well, yeah, you got to have some semblance of realism. I understand that.
Yeah.
That's why the dogs are going with me. I know that in a zombie apocalypse, it is not smart to carry 2 dogs that bark at anything. I mean, if a butterfly flies past our window, Daisy's let me know about it. Okay, I know that. I know it is not a good choice, but I love her too much, and she ain't getting left behind. So, if you had to, though, what are we looking towards?
I see myself as possibly being, like, even though I've never shot a gun, I think I would be pretty good with a sniper rifle. Whenever I play games, I'm always going for the sniper rifle straight away. Like in Metal Gear Solid, like I suddenly became a lot better at the game once I unlocked a tranquilizer dart sniper rifle. I keep my fingers crossed that in real life, a sniper rifle is as easy to shoot as in a game. But I mean, maybe like with a bit of practice, I would be like an amazing sniper. So yeah, I would just like hide in the woods, hide in the trees, and like just pick them off, I think.
I just want to point out, Charlotte has built an amazing team with her man having a shotgun that's that up close, and her with a sniper rifle. Like, they're just gonna go and wreck shop.
That's a great party right there.
I'm just, yeah, that's what you're looking for most when you're building a team. Now you just need a healer, and you got it all. You know,
right? Got the tank, got the range, and now we just need the healing class.
Just need the healer. All right. And our final question, our last one, and this was one where when I got this question, I wasn't 100% sure I was going to use it, but I felt like, you know, we've had some fun. We had a serious topic. I'm going to throw this out there. And the only reason I felt comfortable enough to do it was I was like, you know what? I'm going to feel how we're doing. We're laughing and joking. I feel like we're okay. And I feel like, you know, Charlotte's accepted the PSVG OT motto of don't come prepared, just have some fun and joke around. And so my girl Vive, she wants to know if there's a dollar amount that could get you to give up gaming. So Dev, I'm going to start with you. Is there a dollar amount that could get you to give up gaming?
Let's see. Give up gaming. Man. I guess we might as well just go ridiculous and go like $100 million would make me give up gaming because I'd have enough money to do all kind of other stuff and just play basketball, I guess. It would be tough. It would be real tough because that's like my main hobby. Like, that's like taking away all my joy.
Yeah, when she asked me this, I was like, man, that's a tough one. Like, I don't know if anybody even wants to talk about that unless it's like outrageous money.
Yeah, it's got to be like, you know, we'll just up to $500 million. That way, you know what? We're just going to go on vacation for the rest of our lives, basically, is what's going to happen.
You build your own video game where it's live action. That makes
Pretty
sense.
much.
There you go. There you go. Charlotte, is there a dollar amount that would make you give up games?
It sounds cliched, but no. And the reason no, I'm saying no, is because if I got a huge amount of money, I would just want to spend it on games anyway. And also, I've had this talk with other people outside of the context of games before as to whether I would want to like win the lottery and win an enormous amount of money. And I'm not actually sure. Like, there's a certain amount of money which is makes it sure that you don't have to worry about money ever again, and that's really nice, obviously. But anything above that, like to the level where you give up work, I don't know if I'd be like really unfulfilled never working again. Not that my life is my work, but I need some sort of development and, you know, like something to do with my day that's developing me as a person. So I'm not even really sure whether I would want to get a huge amount of money. And if I did, you know, I'd want to spend it on games anyway. So, you know, probably there wouldn't be an amount of money that would get me to give up gaming.
Man, that's a good answer. Mine was not that well thought out. Man, y'all crushed it today. So when we were talking about it, I was like, no, I wouldn't give up gaming. And then I look at my wife's student loans and I go, I could give up gaming for a minute. I'm just like, I could say goodbye to this. But like when I asked, I was like, V, what part of gaming? Like just the playing of games or the collectibles? Because man, I got a collectible army in here. I got some pops. I got the collectibles behind me. I mean, I got every Xbox One game made physically behind me. I love collecting the stuff. But what I just had to give up playing. And so V was like, no, everything, coach. You got to give up gaming culture. And so for me, I was like, it would have to be a very large amount of money, like enough where I could take care of all my students. Like I could do stuff for them. I could take care of my wife and all that kind of stuff. It had to be a big number. It had to be something big. But on the same side, like there's a big part of me that's like, no, I couldn't do it. Like I would last maybe like a month. And then I'd be like, well, I got my phone. I jump in some Clash of Clans, right? That ain't against the rules, and then I have to give the money back. That's not going to end well for me because that money's going to be gone. So I was like, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I have the strength of will to have given it up because I'm so passionate about it. Like I love it so much. So I was asked that. I was like, that's it seems like a weird question because you're like, all right. I'm glad I went to it though. I'm glad I went to it. Now, this is where we normally wrapped up. So before we do, Charlotte, thank you so much for coming on. I am so appreciative. Like you're one of those writers that I share with my students and we read your stuff, and you and Kim Walsh are two of my favorites. And so is there anything coming up you wanted to plug so that my students know what to look out for?
Just that as I said in my intro, I do write for Destructoid once a week now. So I'm probably going to be writing something possibly to do with my collecting and like my tips on collecting for a certain console. I'm going to be writing that tomorrow. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm looking to guest on different podcasts, but nothing's fixed at the minute. So yeah, just watch out for me on Destructoid. Will
do. And the PSVG OT records every Saturday. Just send us a note, and we'll always find room for you. So, Dev, anything coming up you want to put out there?
Yeah, I'm still working through my NBA Live the One series on the PSVG Late Night Gamer. So I will be adding to that. So that's where you can find me. Come hang out and watch me fulfill my hoop dreams. Other than that, yeah, check for me here on the OT, and I'm not sure I'm going to be on PSVG proper again, but that's where I'm at.
Okay. And guys, you know me, I'll do whatever I can. The only thing that I'm adding is I'm going to try really hard to write something about the experiences that we're having on OT and how great these conversations would be, and just to kind of find out if there's something we can do to help better this idea. You know what I mean? I love the not letting people be prepared for it, so we get some good answers. I love the sharing memories. Maybe I need to dive deeper on that one. And so I'm going to try to write something up in the next week or two. Football had just ended. We lost a tough playoff game. And so let me find some time. And kids, you're real good at keeping me accountable, so we'll do that. But for now, we just want to say thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks so much to Charlotte coming on all the way from overseas. Really appreciate her. And like we always say, game over.